What is an antagonist? According to supersummary.com, quote, antagonists are characters who oppose the protagonist and create narrative conflict by challenging, obstructing, or confronting them. The antagonist can take many forms, including an individual character, a force, or a group or institution. End quote. I think we can all agree Shinji Higuchi's Shin Ultraman has plenty of antagonists, such as Zarab and Mefilas. However, one thing I've heard in passing by a number of individuals online is that the movie lacks a main antagonist. Now, in a market saturated with superhero media, some audiences can confuse antagonists with villains. In the lens of a superhero film, Shin Ultraman indeed lacks an overarching villain, or at least an actively present one. However, not all antagonists are villains. If we were to look at the movie through the lens of a science fantasy movie, and explore what the central conflict is, we can see that the movie does indeed have a main antagonist. That antagonist is humanity. Now, you may be asking, how could humanity possibly be the antagonist of Shin Ultraman? Ultraman's goal in the movie is protecting humanity after all. Well, my dear viewer, this is where the central conflict comes into play. Throughout the entirety of the film, the conflict always revolves around the relationship between Ultraman and humanity. Now admittedly, that alone is not enough to make humanity an antagonist. What does though is all the ways modern human society has impacted each encounter with the kaiju and aliens. To fully explain what I mean, I will be breaking this entire movie down, so full spoilers from this point onward. With that out of the way, let's henshin to it. So when it comes to the kaiju Neronga and Gabora, you would think it's pretty straightforward. The kaiju are attacking and only Ultraman can defeat them. But if we pay close attention to what's going on, we can already see how humanity is already providing obstacles. Quite a bit of the reasons given as to why all the SSSP's plans against Neronga wouldn't work revolved around what politicians desired. An example of this is part of the reason starving Neronga wasn't an option, because Neronga was in the Chief Cabinet Secretary's electoral zone. In the case of Gabora, the reason Ultraman couldn't use his Spacium Ray to defeat him was not because of something Gabora was capable of, but rather because of all the man-made nuclear waste that Gabora was after, and already consumed. This was really the first instance of humanity creating a direct obstacle for Ultraman to conquer. The Zarab part of the story is when tensions start to rise between Ultraman and humanity. Zarab disguises himself as Ultraman so he can degrade what little trust has been built between Ultraman and humanity. While it's eventually revealed that Zarab was a fake, trust was never fully regained as Ultraman's human host, Shinji Kaminaga, was revealed to be able to transform into the giant while that was going on. Thus, we now have the human governments who want to capture Ultraman in human form. This was all because of Mefilas, who has been secretly manipulating the events in the background. The Mefilas part of the story is where we see humanity and Ultraman actively have opposing views, as Mefilas offers humanity beta technology, which would grant them the instant ability to turn them into giant bioweapons. I believe this is where the height between humanity and Ultraman's conflict begins, as Ultraman has to go against humanity for our own good. The rising conflict takes a turn when Zoffy and Zetton are introduced. But it's also within this final part of the story where we see humanity be the most antagonistic towards Ultraman. As Shinji returns to SSSP HQ to warn everyone about Zetton, he is also greeted by a government official who actively threatens the lives of the SSSP members, as an attempt to force Ultraman into coming with them. Ultimately, the threat was ineffective as he is Ultraman, but regardless, this was an openly antagonistic act towards Ultraman. It's only after Ultraman loses to Zetton does humanity come together and to take down the galactic weapon. Even though Ultraman was always trying to help humanity, that doesn't mean humanity was making it easy for him, and in my opinion, was the main antagonist until the near end. But hey, I'm just a guy on the internet, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Also subscribe if you want to see more Toku videos, and most importantly, I want you to have a fantastic day. Take care and shoo-watch!